Yo guys, it's JJ here, and today I'm going to be walking you through how to make some hard-hitting ethnic beats just in the style of Southside. But before we get into the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. On the way to 2k subs, support's been going crazy and I deeply do appreciate it. But with all that being said, let's just jump straight into the video. The first thing I want to do before I break down this little sample, I want to give a shout out to one of my boys, Logan. He just dropped a really fire kit. It's called the Cecilia kit, popping up right here. And if we have a quick look, right, got a bunch of fire drums. As you can see, 202 drum samples. We got loads of 808s, claps, hi-hats, kicks. They all go crazy and you will be hearing them in this video. On top of that, we've got loads of different mixer presets, so really easy to get your drums going. Last but not least, I really want to show off these samples. They're super dope and I'll be playing some right now just to show how great this is. And there we have it, loads of fire samples, loads of fire drums and mixer presets. So go make sure to grab that Cecilia kit, find it in the link in the description. But now let's just jump into the sample. So the first thing I actually did was I did this at 154 BPM in a scale of G minor, but I'm using Instance of Contact 7 with this preset called the Woman Performance, and it's part of the Choir Essential Bank. But if you don't got Contact, honestly Expand 2 works well, Purity, and also other plugins with vocals. And looking at the pattern, it's pretty simple, to be honest with you. It's a nice little one. All I do is first of all begin with this nice little G note that repeats every bar, and then as you can see, I made this nice little pattern going on over here, copy and paste it over, but then change that A sharp into an A. And as you can see, all these notes are a semitone apart, giving that dark kind of vibe and tension. And all I did again, place that G on top with the exact same pattern, so it's just an octave higher. And as you can see, I just play about with this little triad pattern, play around with these notes again, the semitone apart up here and down here. And then all I do is just bounce out the pattern a bit. And that's really it. Simple, straightforward, giving that dark ethnic vibe that we're already looking for. And this is what the sample sounds like. And as for the effects, I kept it very simple. All I did was get an EQ cutting off all my lows, and then some Valhalla vintage verb to add some ambience. And then the next sound I used came from Contact 7 again. It's the Strings of Winter Bank with this nice little spiccato sound. Again, you can find this in other plugins, so don't worry. And looking at the pattern, it's pretty straightforward again. All I do is get this nice little kind of bounce going with these notes, really. That's what I primarily focused on. But on top of that, I added these other notes, as you can see, just to add a bit more of a bounce. And all I did was just copy and paste this exact pattern, literally another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, just because it gives it a nice little undertone. And then what I did, I clicked Alt-R, pulling up my randomizer, and all I do is play with this little velocity knob, just to make it sound more human. And that's pretty much it. So this is what the violin sounds like. Then for the effects, again, very simple. All I did was whack an EQ cutting off all my lows. And then again, some Valhalla vintage verb to add a bit of ambience to the sound and make it more of a background element. And to further emphasize that, I just add stereo separation around 30% to widen it within the headphones. But next up, I got myself an instance of Analog Lab 5 using a preset called the Source Bass. It's a nice little synth bass, and obviously we've got all that low end missing, so it's time to fill it in with this. And as you can see, very simple again. We got ourselves a nice little 2-bar pattern, and I call for a tiny bit in the end just to add a bit of tension because we're pulling that sound in and out. And this is what the bass sounds like. As for the next sound, I got myself an instance of Omnisphere, and I'm using this preset called the Dynamic Crystal Gamalion. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's what it is. It's a nice little bell sound, really. And as you can see, got myself a nice little high counter melody. All I do is start at the G, go into this little D, into a D sharp, into that A sharp. And as you can see, it's kind of like a cascading pattern, just going up to down, tiny bit up, down, tiny bit up, and then down again. and then I take it back into the D, into this A sharp, and copy and paste it again for a full 8. And then by clicking Alt R, I pull up this randomizer again, messing with the velocities, making it sound more human. And that's really it for the counter melody, so this is what it sounds like. And for the effects, I got myself an EQ, cutting my lows off, from Soothe 2 to act as a compressor, an instance of Fruity Delay 3, just add a bit of a ping pong effect as you guys could hear, and then last but not least, some Hall Vintage Verb. And then looking at the stereo separation, I did this around 60% just to really widen it within the headphones. And last but not least, for this orchestral sample, all I do is get an instance of Expand 2, using this preset called a slow Shikokashashi. I butchered that, but it's from the ethnic bank and it's a really dope sound. And looking at the pattern again, very simple, straightforward, spaced out, and that's what we kind of want. So I start off at this G, taking it into that D, then down to a C, and then an A sharp, and then copy and paste it again. But for a bit of variation, I take that C down into the A just to create a bit of tension and a dark tone. As for effects, I use Portal with a preset called Transformed, then again some EQing, and then a heavy amount of a Hall Vintage Verb. And now, with all that, this is what an orchestral sample for Southside sounds like. And there we have it, guys, but now it's time to move into the drums. And as I said, all of these are from Logan's Cecilia kit, so go make sure to grab that link in the description. So first thing I did was get myself this dope snare. It's a nice kind of hard hitting one, repeats every third measure of every beat as you can see, and that's pretty much it. Moving into the hi-hats, as you can see, the pattern is that kind of Southside pattern that we all like, a nice little triplet kind of vibe. So if I focus on the pattern over here, I got myself this nice little third beat roll, and then I got myself a nice little lower pitched hi-hat. Alongside that, I've got another third step roll. Then this and this is actually this, and that are actually 6-step rolls, and all I did was play with the velocity down here to give it kind of like a cool fadeaway sound. Then I pretty much just copy and paste the same pattern from here to here, but instead of having this roll, I switch it down here with another 6-step roll that goes really far down. I add this nice little 1/3 step roll, a 6-beat roll, and that's really it. And as I said, I copy and paste this over to make it a full 8-bar. So with all that being said, this is what the hi-hat and the snare sound like. And next up, we got ourselves a nice little perk. It's called the Trapezoid perk. It's a pretty dope sound. I don't know how he made this really, but all I did was play it once every 4-bar on this exact little measure here after the first beat, and that's pretty much it. So this is what the perk sounds like. And then next up, we got ourselves this very unique open hat. It hits on every 4th measure at the very beginning of the 4-bar. And as you can see, I just repeated it another 4-bar to make a full 8. But this open hat's pretty unique. So without further ado, this is what it sounds like. And now for what we've all been waiting for, the 808s. And as you can see, this pattern's pretty straightforward. All I did was go back into my magnet tool and take it to step. And as you can see, I kept it kind of spaced because we like them hard hitting Southside 808s. So we got that G playing over here. And if it's a variation, I have these 2 extra notes over here. But then to vary up a tiny bit more, I have this exact same pattern over here as I did down here. But over here, I played around with the notes a bit. Instead of having it down here, took it up an octave. And then instead of having this note in the G, took it into the A. And looking at the kick pattern, it's the exact same thing as the 808, just all on that same note of C. And then one thing I like to do with my 808s and my kicks, and I repeat this in every single video, all I do is I click Control A, hard-hitting on my notes. I pick up my mouse, I hold that scroller wheel down, and I push it all the way to the very top as you can see. And all that does is it maxes your velocities out for both your 808s and your kicks. And the reason I do this is it makes it much punchier, sounds more appealing to artists, and that's how we want to get them placements. And now with all that being said, this is what an orchestral beat in the style of Southside sounds like. And there we have it. But now let me just walk you through the structure of the beat. So starting off with the intro, we got ourselves this nice little 8-bar, pretty much the whole sample playing apart from that nice little like flute. And once the beat drops, we move into the chorus, which as you guys can see is a total of 2 8-bars, making it a 16-bar chorus. First of all, starting off with the vocals, very simple, and I have all these nice drums playing alongside them. But then in the second half, I introduced that violin and that really nice open harp. But one thing I did for the second and the third chorus, as you can see, I varied it up a bit, just introducing different elements that were playing throughout the beat, add a bit of variation. And the final thing I did was create 2 verses, which are 3 8-bars long. And the first one, as you can see, starting off with a nice little vocal pattern, and then we start introducing that nice little bell pattern as well for a bit of variation. And I've just got my nice little drums playing, pretty simple and straightforward. But then moving into the second 8-bar, I then introduce that nice live violin, just building up the energy, and I have all of these drums playing alongside it. But then for the final 8-bar, just for the sake of variation, and because it's building back into the chorus, we want to make it very dramatic and build the energy. So all I do is I strip away all my drums, introduce that bass line again, and as you can see here and here, I have this nice little bit of variation with the 2 counter melodies just to build up that tension. And guys, that is literally it. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Shout out to Logan for letting me use his kit. And that is literally how you make an orchestral beat in the style of Southside. So, with all that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.